What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to be looking at another very exciting new character, which is going to be coming in Wave 4 of the Transformers trading card game. Today, it is the turn of Sergeant Thundercracker. Now, this is interesting to me because we haven't actually seen Thundercracker since way back in Wave 1. And Thundercracker was one of my very favourite cards back in Wave 1. There was, for a very long time, one of the decks that I was desperate to get working, and incidentally it was never good enough, was Thundercracker, along with the Starscream Air Commander, the one that did cheeky damage, and then adding in Skywarp as well, not because I particularly love Skywarp, but because Skywarp was the only way to complete a free white deck, because it only had 6 stars. Sorry, Skywarp. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Thundercracker is back, and this one also looks very tasty indeed. It was revealed by the lovely Ken Nagel over on one of the official, I suppose, articles that they've been doing, which are really good. So if we start off with the basics, then we've got a 9-star character, which is kind of on course for a free wide deck. And we've got a health of 14. And we've got an attack of 5 in bot mode, 4 in alt mode. And a defense of 1 in bot mode, 2 in alt mode. So like so many of the characters we've seen, and it does seem like a bunch lately, they've got 1 more attack in bot mode, 1 more defense in alt mode. And we have a couple of skills here, which really want to be playing as many black icon cards as possible. So starting off in bot mode, when this attacks and you flip at least 1 black icon, your opponent chooses a number of cards from their hand equal to the number of black icon cards you flipped and reveals them. You scrap 1 of them. So if you flip while attacking a single black icon, your opponent shows you a card from their hand and scraps it. But if you can be flipping, say, 4 black icons, your opponent needs to show you 4 cards, and you get to scrap 1 of them. Obviously, the ideal situation here is your opponent has a hand of 4 cards, they show you their entire hand, and you scrap the card that they would most want to have. Let's say you've got a character with 2 health remaining, and your opponent shows a marksmanship in their hand. You get to get rid of that. Whereas if you didn't flip enough black icons, your opponent would not show you the marksmanship because that's what they really want next turn. So the more black icons you're playing, the better. And when we flip into alt mode, we see a similar kind of thing. When you flip to this mode, you reveal the top card of your deck. For each black icon it has, move a damage counter from one of your planes to an enemy. Now this is very, very cool. This is both repairing and cheeky damage. Now, as it stands at the moment, we actually do have a bunch of double black icon cards that we can use here. Now, up until Wave 4, we actually had one option, and it frankly wasn't great, like at all, because it came in a Blaster and Soundwave deck, and it was Intercept Communications. Firstly, it's a star card, boo, etc. Secondly, you can only play it if Soundwave was on your starting team, so it doesn't have very much utility. But the good news is we were recently shown 3 more, and these will be getting a video later on. We've seen how many reveals they've been. I'm doing me best, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing me best. But we've got Designated Target, Minor Medic Kit, and Crowbar, all of which have double black icon, none of which actually have any stars. Now this is actually super relevant. Again, we'll get into this in more detail later. But back in Wave 1 was the only time we saw double icon cards that didn't have stars beforehand, and we only saw 2 for each. So we saw, for instance, Peace Through Tyranny and Improvised Shield that have double orange icons, but they're the only ones you get. Every other double orange icon card since has been a star card, which makes perfect sense. If you introduce too many doubles, people will never play singles again. Here we've actually got 3, which beats both orange and blue, almost like they want us to play more Pierce. Now, as a side note, Designated Target gives PS2, which is kinda cool. Minor Medic Kit gives you +2 health, kind of like a weaker energy pack, but can be used on any character, which is pretty cool. And Crowbar gives you +2 attack, but gets scrapped after the battle. But on a double pip card, that's really good. No, it's nowhere near as good as Grenade Launcher, but again, on a double pip card, that's pretty gosh darned awesome. And that's what you really want to be using here to take the most account of this skill. If you can be playing, if you play 3 of each of these, that's 9 double icons, that gives you a pretty good chance of hitting a double icon and going, ha ha ha, now I'm moving 2 damage from me to you. Now, of course, if you really want to get a little bit tricksy here, you can play something like Incoming Transmission, whereby you draw 2 cards and put a card from your hand on top of your deck. Make sure you put a double black icon on top of your deck, and with 9 in your deck, you should be drawing them occasionally. Then you flip into alt mode, and you get to do 2 damage while repairing 2, which is kind of like playing a medic and 2 zap in one go. It's ridiculous, isn't it, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, it's very reminiscent of Bombing Run. Choose an enemy character, move 1 damage counter from each of your planes to that enemy. And we often talked about using Photon Bomb with Bombing Run. All of this together really does give you a lot of repairing and a lot of cheeky damage. One thing that makes me very, very intrigued, and probably is for you guys as well, in the article, Ken wrote, Sergeant Thundercracker's alt mode asks you to play black icons, but now you really want to play double, or perhaps triple, is it possible? Black icon cards and you get to move extra damage. We know that the Transformers team are not above giving little hints. Does that mean we're getting a triple black icon card in Wave 4? That seems to be the implication here. Of course, they might just be messing with us. We've not seen any triple icon cards before. We've seen a couple cards like Fuel Cache, which have 3 icons, but they're not treble, they're just 3 individual ones, a white, an orange, and a blue. But come on. There's 3 slots there for a reason. And obviously, if we ever do get a triple black icon card, now all of a sudden you're repairing 3 while moving 3, and that will be one of the most powerful things we've actually seen in the game. That's ridiculous. But this all comes at a cost. And the cost is that Sergeant Thundercracker demands that you play black icon cards. And that might be alright. You might be fine playing black icon cards. And if you are, go for it. Now do remember that black icons give you pierce, but your pierce cannot be higher than your attack. There's no point flipping 7 black icons when you've got an attack of 5. One of the reasons we really like Crowbar, for instance. But there are plenty of ways that we can add attack here. We don't need to be too upset about this, if I'm honest with you. The question is going to become, how many black icons do you play? You don't want to go higher than your attack. But similarly, if you go blue and black, and you get a decent amount of defense, and you can start abusing stuff like Force Field to try and avoid KOs while going heavy on Pierce, and then getting repairing and cheeky damage, this can all add up to a very, very good deck very, very quickly. But what you don't want to do is play a whole bunch of Pierce and then be KO'd really easily while having Pierce higher than your attack. So you're doing 4 or 5 damage guaranteed every attack, but you're not actually doing enough, and then you're getting KO'd too easily, and that's going to be a bit sad. Certainly stuff like Minor Medical Kit is going to help greatly here for giving a little bit of extra health, and some of these black icon cards are going to be great. Crowbar's fantastic. Minor Medic Kit is great. Is Designated Target that good? If you're going to be playing a whole bunch of Pierce anyway, do you need an extra Pierce 2 when you're flipping a bunch of black icons? And certainly we end up in an annoying situation where, are we playing Dismantle? Because Dismantle's great for getting rid of a weapon or an armor, But then again, if you go blue, you can play Vaporize and also get rid of a utility. If you go orange, you can play Ramming Speed and also get rid of a utility. I'm not sure how much I love being forced into some of these, and that's what's always been the thing with black icons. Black icon cards have pretty much always since Wave 3, been objectively worse versions of blue and orange icon cards. But then again, maybe something like this is going to work. Maybe this is going to be the thing that really pushes us over the edge. I mean, what you might want to have a go at doing here is play around with Black Beam Blaster. You'll need Raider Nightstick to turn into it. And then you've got another way to take advantage of black icon cards. +2 attack, +1 defense, and when you flip at least 2 black icons, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and scraps it. Well, that's going to go very nicely with Sergeant Thundercracker's ability, because now you're actually discarding 2 cards from their hand. So that could be kind of cool. The point is, we've got a lot of options here. Now, one thing which is worth trying to begin with, and I'm not saying it's going to be the greatest deck ever, I'm just saying it's a starting point. How about double Thundercracker Nightstick? Double Thundercracker, you've got a 9 and an 8, so there's 17. Nightstick is 6, puts you on 23, you got a couple of star cards. Not saying it's the best way to go, saying it's an option. Now, I should mention that Sergeant Thundercracker is also a ranged character, so if you're doing cheeky damage, and it looks like we kind of want to, how about the aforementioned marksmanship? How about armed hovercraft? Both have the advantage of being blue cards, which is stuff we're probably going to want. If we're going heavy Pierce, we're going to want some blue icons as well. Give us a little bit of extra protection. A lot of the Pierce decks so far that people have been trying have been let's tank a bit, though not always with tanks, while getting some Pierce going. You're also a plane. Now, I've already mentioned Bombing Run. Bombing Run's pretty gosh darn good. But we've also got Aerial Recon. You can only put it onto planes, and when the upgraded character attacks or defends, look at the top card of your deck, you may scrap it. Now, that's kind of interesting. It's Focus 1, but by a different name. This was back in Wave 1, where Focus 1 wasn't even a thing. And do consider Crash Landing, because if your characters are gonna go down, they might as well go down heavy. Crash Landing has to go on a plane, and when they're KO during your opponent's turn, you do damage equal to its attack total to a tapped enemy. So that's one thing you could be considering. What I will say here is, planes don't have an equivalent of Hunker Down or Start Your Engines. Something which can flip them all into their plane mode at the same time, which is a little bit sad. Come on, Transformers TCG, let us have one, would ya? For now, ladies and gentlemen, I love Thundercracker. I really like this character. There are a lot of characters in Wave 4 that I'm looking at and going, ooh, I like this. And Thundercracker is very much one of them. But I'd like to know what you think about this one, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers and anything else that takes our fancy. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and a whole bunch more. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.